me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free Now looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts.
Hey y'all, it's Lucy. My blog is Paper Glitter Glue, or rather my website's Paper Glitter Glue, and I like to make mostly 3D dimensional paper crafts. And my card for this is, it's a castle card. I kind of got on a castle kick when I watched a show, Escape to the Chateau, and I'm like, I must make castles. So anyway, so I made this castle card. Let me lean back a little bit so you can see. And I mean, it looks complicated, but basically it's just 4 squares that collapse. So I had a lot of fun doing that. And then my free thing, I made a different kind of castle card. This is sort of the simple, and there should be a link to getting that. And then I just think this is so fun. It's a lot of different pieces. So I know sometimes people would rather do like a print and cut, and I haven't really set up my files that way, but I just have fun. I like the little pieces. I just sit around and glue. I saw somebody ask a question about how do I keep all my pieces together. I'm going to do that one real quick. I use a Chewy box. And then I just keep everything in a Chewy box, partly because I have to make a lot of a single card. And so I keep things together. But when I'm done, I keep them in a file folder, an expanding file folder. Somebody asked a really good question about using glitter pins and to draw the mortar. And I think that's a great idea. My friend Emily used like the metallic pens. The silver pen looks really good. And I have them somewhere, but like a lot of my craft supplies, I hide them from myself. So Yeah. But I do think a glitter pen would work really well. Let me find, I think I have an example of drawn mortar, one of my cards. But I think the drawn mortar would look really good in a glitter pen. That's a great idea. House directions for cutout and assemble. I don't exactly know what you mean by that. I suspect you mean that like a print and cut. And I've never done that. I did my first print and cut of any kind recently, but I think people have converted my house patterns into print and cut, and that is easier. I'm going to try to do, I did an advent calendar or like some little advent houses, and I think they would work great as a print and cut, but that's something I'll have to convert to it, to a print and cut. Pieces together. Okay, I mentioned that. I like the expanding folder, and then like a simple little box like this when I'm constructing things. Partly, I don't know, they'll probably make an appearance during this video, but I have some cats. Oh yes, right on cue. Here's my best photo bomber. This is Alley Cat. They really like little windows, and they like to scooch them around and stuff. So I have to put them in a box and kind of cover it up so they won't steal my pieces. My go-to paper, when I'm making houses, I actually like cardboard. I want my houses to last. Let me just show you. Like, listen. I mean, it sounds like wood. It's just cardboard. So I make them out of cardboard, and then I like to paint. I kind of like getting messy, so I paint things. But for my cards, I use Recollections brand. I like Michael's. It's nearby. And for cards, almost always I use 65-pound cardstock. And in case you can't tell, they make the 65 and 110-pound cardstock sound different. Okay, listen. See how flexible that is? And hear how deep that sounds? That's 110 and 65. So those are my two go-to papers, but really just any kind of cardstock. I think lighter works better for most cards. So, okay. Oh, somebody was mentioning divided plates. That's a great way to store your stuff together too. Yes, that wreath is one Christmas I had a challenge, 12 Christmas houses, and then I made them into a wreath. Okay, it's about 4 years old, and so especially the cats like it. So they're a little wonky, but I'm going to redo it this year. I figured out how to anchor them better. All my houses have a hole in the back, but I'm going to put like 2 extra holes, and I'm going to thread a wire through and wire it onto the wreath, and I think it'll sit up better. That's my plan anyway. Yeah, okay. What are basic supplies? Beginner card maker, basic supplies. I think I'd get a multicolored card pack. Or if you really like certain shades, like, you're into pinks or something, get a pack with just like 4 or 5 shades to it. That's like my favorite. And then I use Barely Art Glue. I think they're a sponsor. It's just so easy for me to use. And I don't even use the fancy tip. I just use this one. I'm kind of a messy gluer, but I think it works pretty well. Let me see if you can see, like there's a glue blob or two, but it works. It doesn't clog the tip hardly at all. So I really like that. Lighthouse. No, I haven't made a lighthouse, but I made a really cool windmill. So you can go on the blog Paper Glitter Glue and look up windmill. But my windmill, I used a brad to anchor the blade so it actually spins, and then I made it on a cheese box. So like if you wanted to give it to somebody, they can open it up and you can put like a little treat or a gift card or something. It's perfect for spring. And then I put like little tulips around the edge. So it's really neat. So, No, that's one nice thing about a really good glue, like Barely Art glue. You don't usually have to hold stuff together. The only thing, let me tell you about pop-up cards. The part that needs to stick the most is the part that this thin little part that holds to the card. And I actually modified the design because this piece was so thin it didn't hold. So really, for a pop-up card to make it hold, I first press it down and then I open slowly so it won't pull apart. I make sure it's in the right place, and then I press it down and I'm like really smushing it, and that works for pop-up cards. I haven't had a problem with that. So for cards, I don't use clips. For houses, I actually usually tape things in place, or I use binder clips or something. Like this one has a curved roof. So to make it hold, I'll pull, wait, I'll show you. My trusty blue tape, it's everywhere. I'll pull it real tight and I'll hold the roof like that and let it dry if it's a curved surface. Yes, I made all these houses. That's kind of my thing. Everybody's sort of surprised, that I actually have a fairly decent audience. I mean, a large number of people follow me, and I mostly make houses. That's one of my favorite. This is the Storybook Cottage. Again, cardboard. And I leave this open so you can add a tea light. This is the Irish Cottage. This is Leprechaun House. And it's got a little pot of gold in there. So yes. Oh, and this is my castle. I told you I was on a castle kick. This is based on that show I saw, Escape to the Chateau. And yeah, I just really have fun. I had to figure out how to make round turrets. That was hard. Yes, I made the cuckoo clock. Good. Very good question. Do I buy cardboard? You can buy cardboard. I worked in a pediatric ER for many years, and I noticed that, you know how you have to wear your little name tag? Well, it comes on a box of labels, and at the bottom of each set of labels is really good cardboard. I still have people, even though I'm retired now, I still have people from the ER who saved that cardboard for me. And the equivalent is 30-point cardboard, which you can buy from, wherever you order things from, usually Amazon. 30-point. 50-point is much thicker. They say 50-point is the thickness of a penny. I can't remember. Yeah, how I'm trying to convert it into inches, but I can't remember, but it's the thickness of a penny. And 30-point is more flexible, and I think it's easier to use. So that's one reason I do that. Yeah. Adhesives. So for quick stuff, what I call paper to paper, cardstock, I use my Barely Art glue. When I'm doing something like curved roofs, I really like something thicker. I use one of the Fast Grab, something from the Tacky Glue family, Fast Grab or Quick Dry, because it's got even more resin in it. The sticky stuff, less water and more resin. It's thicker. It doesn't drip down. And so it holds a curved piece, or particularly roofs are the hardest thing. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Okay, so a few years ago, I think it was 2021, I first saw it on Jennifer Maker. She showed us how to automatically attach score lines, designate score lines, and attach them. And that worked for a while, and then Cricut took away that ability. I don't know. So now you always have to identify the score lines, go to the operations menu, and click score, and then be sure to attach it to the appropriate piece. And it makes it a little harder, but I mean, that's just the way it is. We were able to do it for just a few months, and then that ability went away. And I actually just checked a file last night where I had been able to do that, and that file no longer does that. So it's just kind of frustrating. But one thing I try to do is that show up my score lines on make my score lines. I make them in red, and so when you go to the operations menu, almost always they're the only thing in red. And so it helps you designate it. Also, sometimes if I double and triple the lines, then they show up better and you can see that they're actual lines. But most of the time on the layers panel, it's hard to see the lines. So it's just kind of frustrating. I usually make PDF files. I'm gonna have to move one of my cats. I usually make PDF files for every single one of my patterns. Let me show you. This is my book. This is my pop-up book. And there is a PDF file at the back for basically this design. And yes, I do. And what I would do is if you, instead of like intricately cutting out these windows, I'd find a die set from one of the other card, the die companies, and use the windows from there, and just make your life simple. That's one reason I really learned to draw SVG files, was because I wanted really fancy window. I wanted different windows. Yes. Are the tower sides on the boss card? You said the glue. Oh, I don't know. No, the tower sides, each tower. Wait. Can you show me that? Are the tower sides of this card different widths? Oh, I meant that I think I told you the wrong order. I glued it in the wrong order. So no, the towers are identical. Each tower. Okay, wait, let me see. So the center tower is bigger, and the two side towers are identical. But the and the only thing in terms of width is in terms of size is the back tower is obviously taller. Okay, software. I started out using Inkscape. Inkscape's free. And it's a very powerful program. It has a steep learning curve, but the problem with it is that Cricut doesn't like it as much as it likes Adobe Illustrator. I assume all their designers are in Adobe Illustrator. So now I use Illustrator. So Inkscape's free, a little glitchy. Adobe Illustrator works great. Again, steep learning curve, but it cost me like $60 a month. So, but since I design so much, it's what I have to do. So if you have a student in your family, if you're a teacher or a student, I think you get a discount. I think it's about half. So how much glue? You really don't need much. I describe myself as an how much glue do you use to attach the tabs? You don't need as much as I use. I call myself an over gluer. And part of it is because I came from sort of the house making background. So when I started making some cards, some dimensional cards, I sort of retained the habit of squirting a lot of glue. So I use a lot, but paper to paper, cardstock to cardstock doesn't really require that much glue at all. The only one I would be particularly good about is where the little spaces really have to be glued down well. To make the dimples house. I don't know what you mean by the dimples house. The dimples house. Well, I can just tell you about my houses in general, partly because I'm making a pattern that I want to make I want to simplify for other people, it takes me a while, and I make a prototype. I'll get up and show you. I'll be right back. Like for my castle, this was probably the third prototype, and I made it out of just regular cardstock. Partly the problem was I was trying to figure out how to make round turrets. They're a bit of a challenge. So this was the final, and this was the prototype. So it usually takes me at least a week to make a pattern, but if I was just going on my pattern, I think I could make it in a day or two. Let me see. Oh, what made me get into this design? Okay, many years ago, I saw it was on the cover of a Martha Stewart Living magazine. She made a wreath with the little houses on it, and I'm like, I'm going to do that. And once I was I reduced my hours in the ER where I work, and I'm like, I'm going to make stuff. I love to make stuff. And so I went to med school and residency and years of, all these hours in the ER. And so I'm like, I'm going to play. And so I started making little houses, and I started off, my first ones were ugly. They were kind of weak, and then I got better and better and better. And then I learned, I see Marie Helene and Barb. And so then I started making houses, and I got better. And at first I cut them all by hand. And sometimes my hands would be so sore, I'd have to lay them up on the pillows at night because they were so sore from cutting out all this stuff. And then I learned to design files. And I took a course from Jennifer Maker. She's kind of my mentor. My brother knew her from like the 90s, so she advised me I needed a course, and I learned how to make them in Inkscape, and then I further refined them to make further refine my skills once I got into Adobe Illustrator, and my patterns are better now. They're more, I'll look and I'm like, those windows aren't centered. Why? How did I do that? But now I know how to center things better and align and stuff. So somebody was asking, do you always use solid core? Yes, I would use solid core for pop-up because it's going to be moving, and you can just see. Yeah, I really like solid core. I used to be a doctor. Yes. Hey Diane, I do have a book of patterns available on my blog, Paper Glitter Glue. I've got 3 books in my shop, and one of them is a pop-up house book. And let me show you. I'll show you one of the cool ones from it. Okay, this is really cool. Let me make sure I'm lining it up right. Oops, I bent it. Nope, I'm not lining it up right. Here we go again. See, isn't that a cute little house? So that's one of the designs. And I used the same kind of, just like I made the mortar on the castle. That's what I used to make the brick on this house. So, yes, I was a doctor. I say was a doctor. I guess maybe, I still have the degree. But yes, I was a pediatric ER doctor. That's what I did. And you can see how I would need an outlet. And I learned, and like I said, I saw somebody mention Jennifer Maker's A Cut Above. It's kind of an interesting class, and 8 lessons. She kind of gets you up to speed. There's a lot more to learn, but you can get stuff going. So yeah, A Cut Above is a good one. I saw that. Where do I find stone paper? I don't know what you mean by that. You can actually kind of make it yourself if you want to have a stone. You can use embossing folders. There's some incredible embossing folders. Usually Tim Holtz has them, embossing folders that'll make a stone surface and mimic, and they'll actually look better than the surface that I have on my on my card. They're really impressive. Yes, that's a very good question. Lisa asked if you can use extra layers of cardstock rather than cardboard. You can, but I want to show you. This one is, the body is 110 and the turrets are 65-pound cardstock. But because I kind of over design things, so it's actually pretty sturdy. Now these are a little bit squishable, but that's because it's kind of hard to make a round turret. So here's the secret. I've got like a circle, so you can conform it to this circle, and then I lightly mist it with water, and it worked. I was like, whoa, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's a photo bomber. That's Alley Cat. She showed up. She actually showed up with a broken leg, so I had to get it fixed. Sometimes she tries to make me feel sorry for her. Oh no. Oh, I can't believe this question. I think this John or Joan Clark asked if I was a messy craft room or a clean craft room. I'm afraid I'm a messy craft room because I get so absorbed in the project. I get really intense, and yeah, I'm a messy craft room person. I don't know. Blade. I usually almost always, Judy asked about what blade do I use on the Cricut, and I almost always use the fine, is it fine cut? The fine blade, fine point blade. I'm going to make I'm making some stencils now, and I'm going to try a deep cut blade, see if it works a little easier. Oh, and I wanted to tell you a real quick hint. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but my mats are not sticky at all, and I just tape everything down. See, I just tape stuff down, and so I don't have to buy mats very frequently. Sometimes I get tired of taping them down, and I'll go buy a new set. But I just use the blue painter's tape. Keep it handy. Yes, I did. The paper towel roll works. It's not exactly the right size, but also on the turrets, you asked about the paper towel rolls for the turrets. I wanted them to fit in the corners, so I had to make them like 3/4 of a circle. So, but paper towel rolls, I did experiment with them, and basically what I did was cut them and sprayed them so they would do the same thing. But I wanted them also smaller and a little more proportional for this looks somewhat like the house it was based on. So, no, the wreath houses are on my blog. It was something like it was from 2018, and it's 12 houses of Christmas or something like that. Just type in on the search function 12 houses. Okay, so here's the thing. This was so long ago, I could barely make patterns. And so there are only about, I think only 8 of them have an SVG pattern, but all of them have printable PDF patterns too. Yes. Okay. Oh, no, I don't replace the blades. I mean, I think the blade that's in there now is like 2 years old. Yeah. And I mean, I cut cardboard. I don't do vinyl. I don't know if vinyl gets so much sticky on it that it affects it, but I basically just do paper and cardboard, and I think the blades last forever. But do you cut thick chipboard? No, not really. I haven't. I kind of stick with what I have for free, which is equivalent to 30-point cardboard. Yeah, so I haven't done that. Cute cat steals the show. That's what Tracy says. Yes, that's Alley Cat. And oh, somebody made the wreath. Anne Humphrey made the wreath this year, and she said she loved it. I'm going to do some variations and do a new tutorial. I don't think I've done a video tutorial. I'm going to do that. Let's see, about 3 minutes left. Let me see if there were any other things I wanted to tell you about. I have all this, I have like files next to me and stuff. So anyway, I hope you, oh, this is like a Christmas variation of the castle book. So it's only 3 things, but it's of the castle pattern. And oh, here's my favorite. I like Halloween because you can make, you can be you can be messy, and it works. So here's the Halloween version. And there's my little cat. That's Luca. And I even had a little swinging ghost in there. But that's in my book, Playful Pop-Up Houses. So if you want that. Okay. Yes, the Christmas Castle. I think it's just a fun card. It's not like, you know, it's once you understand, it's just these squares that fold flat. It's not that intimidating. So, yes, I like Halloween, but not go. I just like, I like that you can edge it and make it a little spooky. And if you're messy and if stuff is wonky, you know, I don't think I have a Halloween house here. No, I don't have a Halloween house here, but they're actually my favorite. I used to sell them. If you're wondering, real quick, I used to sell them for Habitat because I didn't want a million houses at my house, but I still end up with a million houses at my house, little houses at my real house. Okay, Evie said, I wish you lived next door. The book is a digital download on my shop. Yes, so you'll see the shop section under the name Paper Glitter Glue. And Lena Dotson, thank you. That's so nice. Thank you. And yeah, I was so nervous. I have to like do deodorant twice before a live stream because I get nervous. So, okay, I think that's it. So I appreciate y'all watching and interacting with me and all the kind comments and everything. It's so nice. And thank you, Brandy, Erin. Erin's the behind the scenes person for the video. She's like great. And Erin Reed and Harriet. Harriet saves me too. So, okay. Thank you, y'all. I'm gonna I'm gonna leave now so the next person can come on. Okay, y'all have a good day. Bye.